All right, Cassie. Cassie, where are you from originally?
I am originally from Brooklyn, New York.
Tell me about your family growing
My
up.
family is from an island called Trinidad and Tobago. Um, in the like Black community and in the Afro-Caribbean community, mental illness isn't really something that's talked about. So yeah, I wasn't. So I have autism and antisocial personality disorder. And I wasn't diagnosed until I was 25 years old. Um, and that was after a breakdown, basically.
To tell me, I assume that autism and antisocial personality disorder, there's probably some overlap with those.
Yes, there's overlap that no one is really talking about, which is part of the reason why I wanted to do this interview. So I was masking my autism for 25 years until I was diagnosed. And the psychiatrist that I was seeing basically told me that because I was masking my autism for so long, as a result, that's why I developed this personality disorder. So, long story short, I'm gonna go deep. Okay, so long story short, I was sexually assaulted at the age of 9 years old. And after that happened, that's when I started suppressing my emotions to cope with the trauma of being sexually assaulted. And I think one of the reasons why I was a target for that person is because I was clearly autistic. Like now that I'm an adult, looking back on my childhood, I had clear signs of autism. And this person saw like a slow, you know, girl and took advantage. And yeah, that's, I guess that's when my personality disorder started to develop. Because I had no way of coping with it, especially since I had autism, because I would like scream and I would cry. Even before the assault, I would have like autistic meltdowns, what I now know to be autistic meltdowns. Back then, I guess like I was just like a very unhappy child. But yeah, sorry, this is a lot to talk about.
Describe the behavior of like your autism as well as your antisocial personality disorder.
Okay.
How do I mean, for a friend or somebody that's meeting you, how does it play out?
Uh-huh.
How is your behavior different than a normal person?
Okay, so from what I was told by like therapist and psychiatrist, my brain works differently than a normal person's brain. I have a neurodivergent brain. A normal person has a neurotypical brain. So for me, being a neurodivergent person, I see things differently. And that like with the autism, basically, like I'm just like I don't understand body language. After I was diagnosed at 25, I started reading books on body language and watching YouTube videos on body language, because for 25 years, like I was just going around not understanding body language, not knowing how to communicate with people. I was severely bullied in school. I grew up in the early 2000s. So nowadays there's like a zero tolerance for bullying. But back then, I used to get spit on. Kids used to throw me downstairs. They would call me like a stupid N-word, stuff like that. So yeah, I was like, I was bullied because I had autism, but I didn't know that I had autism. So I was thinking, like every single day, I was thinking, like, what is wrong with me? Like, why am I so stupid? Like, why can't I understand people? So with the autism. So with the antisocial personality disorder, because my only coping mechanism for dealing with my autistic behavior was suppressing my emotions, I would stare at people because I didn't understand people. And I would try to like mimic like what other girls were doing. And they would look at me like, what the fuck is she doing? And that was just me trying to be normal. But I was failing, obviously, because I got bullied. But yeah, like when people think of antisocial personality disorder, they think of like Dexter. I'm not like Dexter. When people think of autism, they think of like Sheldon Cooper. Maybe I'm a little bit like Sheldon Cooper. But like girls like me, like when I was younger, I was a know-it-all, but like I learned really quick that I could not be a know-it-all because it was just like who do you think you are? You know, like even like I would read the science book and I would read ahead of the teacher. And if the teacher got something wrong, then I'd be like, oh, actually it's deoxyribonucleic acid. And they just like look at me like, you know, like I'm the teacher, you're the student. Like, but yeah, I had to like pretend to be like dumber than I was in school because I didn't want to get bullied and the teachers thought I was annoying. So yeah, and that's like now that I know that I have autism, I'm kind of like jealous of autistic men because they seem to be way further in life than I am because they were diagnosed as a kid. They were able to get like the support and the help that they needed as a child. And I know, well, I'm not friends with them anymore, but I know two guys that had autism and antisocial personality disorder. One was in medical school and the other one is a paralegal. And I am unemployed. So yeah, like that kind of like infuriates me a little bit because I keep on thinking like, if I was diagnosed earlier in life, like who could I have who could I have been, you know, like what could I have done with my life? Like who knows, maybe I would have been like a paralegal or like in medical school, you know? So yeah, like after the age of 25, I was like, okay, it sucks. Yeah, after I was diagnosed, I was like, okay, it sucks that I have this, but like at least I know what's wrong with me because I didn't know what was wrong with me. And then also, like my psychiatrist was explaining to me that sociopathy is on a spectrum, right? So when people say like, oh, sociopaths can't feel feelings, we can. I just view feelings through a cognitive lens. Like what is it called? I intellectualize feelings because I suppressed my feelings from the age of 9 years old to 25. So yeah, like I can't feel things as intensely as a neurotypical person would. Sorry, I'm trying to think because like I didn't have anything like so I'm like, okay, what do I talk about next? So yeah, so can I feel feelings? Yes and no. So like okay, so this is a good example. So me and my friend, we were watching TV and there's this like commercial with the dogs, right? And the dog has like one leg and my friend is like, oh my God, like that's so sad and wants to turn it off, right? And in my mind, like I don't feel that instant like, oh my God, that's so sad. In my mind, I'm like, the dog has 3 legs. Dogs usually have 4 legs. it's probably difficult for the dog to walk around. That's sad. So like I have to like think about like feelings. I don't just like feel them. And that sucks because like the only feelings that I've been like able to feel like intensely have been depression, loneliness, and anger. So like the only like feelings that I like I could say like I feel are like the bad ones, which is not something that I like, because I would like to feel happy. I would like to feel love, and like me and my psychiatrist at the time we were like talking about it, and like I was like, I want to be capable of love. I want to know what love feels like. I've never been in love, but like I'm not going to say, oh, because I have antisocial personality disorder, I can't love, because like I watch like romantic movies and like I wanna like feel that, but I haven't, and I'm 30 years old. So, yeah. Sorry.
Are there doctors that have prescribed any are there medications even for autism? There's not, right?
So for autism spectrum disorder, there's medications to like deal with the side effects that come with like having that, the stress that comes with having that. But from what I know, there's no real medication for autism. And I don't think there's an FDA approved medication for antisocial personality disorder because it's a personality disorder.
So you're not on any medications?
I'm on antidepressants. I'm currently on antidepressants, because I get depressed a lot. And this is another thing, so those girls in school, right? Like they'd be like, why is this bitch staring at me? Like she's weird. And it's like, I was like trying to understand like, okay, like how to be normal, how to fit in, right? Because I have antisocial personality disorder, like I automatically because I can't read body language. So like I have to like when I look at a person, I look at like who they present to be, and then I try to figure out who they actually are, right? So like I'm psychoanalyzing every single person I meet, not because I want to. It's kind of like a survival instinct, because I was sexually assaulted as a child, not just once, but like multiple times. So like I I psychoanalyze everyone I meet, and I have to. But like when people like realize, well, I try to do it in a way that they don't like they don't know that I'm doing it like that. But yeah, like when people realize that I am like doing that, then they feel uncomfortable, they feel vulnerable, and like I don't want people to feel like that around me. But like, what am I gonna do? Like I have a hard time feeling emotions, there's such a stigma that comes with antisocial personality disorder, because when you hear the word sociopath, you think of criminals, you think of like killers. Like I don't want to kill anyone, and I'm not a criminal. Yeah.
Do you have friends?
My roommate is my only friend.
Have you been in love?
No, I've never been in love. I want to be in love, but I've never been in love.
And how old are you?
I'm 30. Yeah. Yeah. I made a TikTok, which is my only TikTok at the moment, because I was on a dating app and a guy called me a femcel, which is a female involuntary celibate, which is like a playoff of incel, right? And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, the only sexual experience that I have has been non-consensual, and so am I a femcel? But incels, they for them it's just like, oh, I can't get any sex. For me, it's like it's not like like obviously I'm female, like it wouldn't be hard to get that or whatever. But for me, like I want to find someone that I can feel safe around, someone that can be understanding of my disorders, the autism and the antisocial personality disorder. And I have not found that, because guys think like, oh, you're crazy. And they just like don't want to be with a crazy person. And it's not that I want to be crazy. I obviously don't want to be crazy. And I try to hide my crazy very well.
You're just unique and different.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like I can't, I have to, what's it called? I have to look at feelings. Like I have to think about feelings. I don't just like feel feelings. And that's very stressful, that it just doesn't come naturally to me. And it's very annoying that when I tell people about my disorder, they automatically ghost me because they think I'm going to manipulate them, or they think that like I'm capable of doing like bad things, because they're like, oh, well, if you can't feel, like, how do I know that you're not going to stab me? And I'm just like, well, I'm not going to stab you because that would be a bad thing, and I'm not a bad person.
I think antisocial personality disorder gets a really bad name because everyone thinks you're out to stab or kill them.
Yeah, and I get it. No, you know what? Now that like I understand where people are coming from, like I get it. Like if someone is like if I was a male, I would probably be addicted to drugs or I'd be dead. Like honestly speaking, if I was a black man with the same disorder that I have now. Yeah, because like look, when I was living in New York City, one of my hobbies was people watching. And that, like, most people would be like, that's creepy. But like for me, that's how I learned to like to be normal, by watching people. But people don't like to be watched. So yeah. Yeah.
But what is the hardest part of all of this for you? Just the loneliness?
The loneliness is the hardest part, because, and then when people think of loneliness, they think like, oh, like you want a boyfriend. Like, no, it's not just that. It's the fact that even like girls don't feel comfortable around me, because like as women, as girls, like I feel like we're automatically like nurturers and empathetic and stuff like that. And so like the fact that like I have to think before like being like to me, empathy is cognitive. Like I have to think, like I don't treat people the way that I would want to be treated. I treat people the way I think they would want to be treated. So like there's so many steps when it comes to empathy for me, because it doesn't come naturally. But like I refuse to be labeled as someone that can't be empathetic. So like it's very, very difficult. Very difficult. So the loneliness is a huge thing that is making me depressed. That's why I'm on antidepressants, because I'm 30 years old. I have no boyfriend. I have no friends. My family even feels uncomfortable around me.
Are you working?
No, I'm not working. And that's another thing. Like it really, really sucks. Cause like my mom, she was like, oh, you were so smart in school. And it's like, well, yeah. Oh, well, actually, I can't say anything bad about my mom because I love her. God bless her heart. She's from Trinidad, and they don't go to therapists. You know, they don't like, so I can't be mad at my mom. She did the best that she could, with what she knew at the time. So.
You don't have kids, I assume?
No, I don't have any kids. Yeah, and I want kids. That's the thing. Like, in a perfect world, I would love to be married with kids, have a bunch of friends, have a good job, be able to pick up on social cues. Like, in a perfect world, I would love to not be labeled as a sociopath. Like, that would be, like, amazing. And another thing, too. I can't find a therapist to stick with me. So here I am, right? Like like a diagnosed someone with autism and antisocial personality disorder, and I'm saying like, hey, I would like to find a therapist to help me because I'm having difficulty in life. And they see my psych eval, and the ones that are willing to help me, when we have a therapy session, like recently I had a therapy session with a therapist that dropped me, and like she basically said like it's so complicated and it's so much work to help you because like with sexual assault, because I'm a part of the reason why I'm also going to therapy is so that I can get help with the trauma that comes with that, because like as someone with ASPD, I don't I didn't process the assault like a neurotypical woman would have. In my mind, I just said like, this person is a monster. They took advantage of me, and that's fucked up, right? But like my body, like I can compartmentalize it in my mind, but my body is still not over it, because sometimes like I wake up and my eyes are wet because I was crying in my sleep. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to be crying in my sleep. Like I need to get help. And I was talking to her about it, and she basically said that like she couldn't help me, and she referred me to like another therapist, because like she didn't know like how to go about helping me, because of my personality diagnosis. Yeah. I don't even know if I said that right. I don't know if anything I'm saying is making sense. But yeah.
Have you had multiple therapists?
I have had several therapists. Oh my God. I have had in my life probably about a dozen therapists in the past 5 years. That's a lot, right?
And your last one dropped you?
She did. She did, because like, and you know, bless her heart, like she tried. But like, I think she got a little creeped out because like I'm saying like this is affecting me. And she's like, well, how do you feel about it? And I'm like, well, I'm indifferent towards it. Like that person is fucked up, you know? But so it's like, how do you treat somebody who has to think about like emotions? How do you treat someone that doesn't just say like, oh, I feel like sad? Like I can say I feel sad, but for me, or I can say I feel depressed, but for me it's different, because like for most people, they're like, oh, I feel the depression. For me, I'm thinking about like all the things that happen to me in my mind, and it's intrusive thoughts. So like it won't go away. So the thoughts won't go away, and because the thoughts won't go away, I'm either overeating or like watching Netflix and then waking up and my eyes being wet from crying in my sleep, or like sometimes I'm in the shower and like I just like turn on the hot water because I'm like, oh, I'm dirty. Like I need to be cleaned. So like for me, like feelings, they're different. They're different because like I view them differently. So and therapists don't know how to treat that. They're like, how do we go about helping you? And I'm just like, I don't know. You're the therapist. You tell me.
Is that the hardest part of these disorders, is your inability to just straight feel a feeling?
So
you have to like process it and think about it. And
so I don't like, I'm not like a psychiatrist or whatever, but from what I was told from the psychiatrist that diagnosed me, is that what was your question? I'm so sorry.
No, it seems like the most difficult part of all this is that you just can't feel a feeling.
Yeah.
Like most of us would.
Yeah.
You have to process it and think about it, and maybe just do the math on it before you can express any emotions.
Exactly. And yeah. that's pretty much it. I mean,
but it was with a partner or a friend who can understand that, and maybe even has some similar behaviors. Maybe it could.
That oh my gosh. So I have to talk about this, but I don't. Can I say names or no? That's bad, right?
I can take them out. I'll take them out.
Okay, so I'll just I won't say their names because but okay, so with the Indian guy, right? The guy that went to medical school, right? So with him, like he was always calling himself a winner, and he used his sociopathy like to get ahead in life, right? So it wasn't
when you say the Indian guy, did you refer to him earlier?
Oh, did I say his name?
I don't think you. No, you didn't. But
the two guys that I knew that had autism and antisocial personality disorder.
Oh, okay.
One was Indian, one was white.
Got it.
I don't want to say their names. That's why I'm referring to them by race.
Yeah,
but
okay.
maybe I shouldn't refer to them by race. I apologize if that's offensive. But yeah, like with him, like he used it to his advantage. So for me, it's a disability, but for him, it was like a superpower, you know? And the same thing with the dude that was a paralegal, like him, like he used his sociopathy to his advantage. And he was very well, I don't know him anymore. Well, because we don't talk, but like he was successful. And it just sucks because like if I were to lean into like those like dark triad traits, like because I have to like take extra steps to not be a bitch and to not be an asshole, right? Because like as a female, like as a woman, if I leaned into my sociopathy, someone would either curse me out or like beat me up, because those traits are not like valued in women the same way they are valued in men. So yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm rambling and I can't really like I forgot the question because I feel like
that's your autism.
Yeah, like I'm very forgetful because I'm constantly thinking. Like there are thoughts like going through my head like all the time.
What advice would you give to someone who's got similar problems as you?
Well, is this someone that is undiagnosed? There's someone that might think they have it, or someone that knows that they have it.
Any of the above.
The advice that I would give someone is to
not that you've solved all your problems yet.
Oh, I have a plethora of problems that have not been solved. But the advice that I would give someone is to try. I know it's hard. I know the struggle is real, but you can't give up on yourself. You have to try. You're more than your autism. You're more than whatever personality disorder you have. And that's what I've been doing. I've been trying so hard to be normal, like to be like a regular human. And I will try till the day that I die to not be like someone that like people look at and think, what's wrong with that person? You know, like I want to be like someone that can like go through society peacefully, because I've had people threaten to kill me, and I didn't. All I was doing was being myself, basically, and they were uncomfortable around me, and they threatened to kill me. They threatened to beat me up, and like even like flight or flight like instincts I had to like develop over time. Like I had people, because I was getting beat up so much in school. Like people were just like beating the shit out of me in school. So like I don't know if I should talk about this. Can I talk about like really? Can I say like names and stuff or?
I would take them out if it's a problem. So.
Okay. All right. So So I remember that
Just use first names anyway.
First names? Okay. So yeah, so like I remember I was, so at some point in my life, I was homeless and I refused to be on the streets. So I went into a like shelter. It was like an LGBT shelter in the Bronx. And they put me in a room that was predominantly female. And in this room, the first night that I was there was this girl and she was super funny and she said a joke and everyone in the room laughed. And I was the only one that didn't laugh. So I decided, okay, I have to act normal. And I laughed. And then when I laughed, like everyone stopped laughing and they started staring at me. And then I left because I knew that it wasn't like a good thing. Then I came back like maybe like an hour or two later and there was trash on my bed. And I just cleaned the trash off and I went to sleep. And the next morning, one of the girls came up to me and she said, "You're a fake bitch. We don't want you in here." And it clicked that like, crap, they knew that that was a fake laugh. And because I'm always masking, because if I don't, then people feel uncomfortable. And when people feel uncomfortable, they might say or do things that they wouldn't do if they were comfortable. So she called me a fake bitch. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry for being a fake bitch. And I stayed in that room for like a couple months and like the girls would curse me out. They would threaten to beat the shit out of me. And because like I kind of like, so for me, I was used to being bullied and abused. So one of the girls that threatened to, like, she came up to me and she was like, you know, threatening to beat the shit out of me. I was like, okay, just don't kill me. Because, like, if you're going to do it, just do it. And then she took a step back and she was like, this bitch, she said, "This bitch is crazy. I'm not going to go to jail for your dumb ass." Right? That's what she told me. And then the other girl was like, "No, she's not crazy. She's a sociopath." And that was the first time anyone has ever called me a sociopath, was when I was in that shelter. And I was like, fuck, they know. Cause like I thought like I was doing my best to like pretend to be normal, because like at that time I was homeless and I didn't want to be on the streets. And so a week later, a staff member came to me and they said, well, the staff member basically said that the girl came up to her and said that I was making her feel uncomfortable and that she was scared that I was going to kill her. And she was the one that threatened to beat my ass. And I was the one that was saying, okay, beat my ass. Just don't kill me. But because I said that, and that's not something a normal person would say, she felt like weirded out or whatever. So they put me in a single person room, because I guess like I was just, they didn't want me in that room anymore. And then the messed up part is, like, I liked being in that room. Like, I liked being around people. And then when I was by myself, like, that made my mental health worse. But yeah, that's when I realized, like, okay, I have to accept being by myself because I don't want to get my ass beat. But it just sucks because, like, people say that people with antisocial personality disorder don't have empathy. But then, like, how are you going to say that and then not even be understanding or empathetic of the person with the disorder? And I'm trying so hard to be empathetic towards everyone that I meet. And I'm trying so hard to mask my autism, and people aren't trying to understand me at all. And yeah, and that's very, like, very, it just like makes me angry. But like I don't want to be angry because the people that, like, if like the people, my people that are acquaintances around me, they're like, oh, she's such a nice person, blah blah blah. But the people that are close to me, they see the effects of like me having to, like, mask all day, mask my autism, mask my ASPD, and then like I'm home and like I'm screaming and I'm crying and like I'm saying like leave me alone, and like they're the ones like that have to deal with it, and it sucks because like I wish that I had coping mechanisms to deal with it, to deal with like my issues rather than suppressing my emotions. Because the longer that I do that, the longer that it will be that like maybe one day like I won't feel anything at all. Like sometimes I'm scared that because when I was a teenager, there were days that I felt absolutely nothing, and it was like for a normal person, it's probably like when you wake up in the morning and you're sleepy, and you're just like walking around. Like that's how I was for like sometimes I'd be like that for days, sometimes I'd be like that for weeks, and it sucks because I don't want to have autism, and I sure as hell don't want to have ASPD, but I have those things. And when therapists are afraid to take me as a client, it hurts and it sucks because how am I supposed to become a productive member of society when I can't get help? And I'm poor. I can't pay out of pocket. The last therapist I had to pay $800. That was basically all the little money that I was saving up, right? So yeah, like the struggle is real. That's basically it. I feel like I'm just ranting.
That's all right. All right, Cassie, thank you so much for sharing your story. I wish you lots of luck.
Thank you.
Getting yourself and others to understand your problem.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.